All right, here we go. It's Now You Live in Dreads. Isn't that that's a pretty cool intro there, the 30-second countdown. It is that time to talk some true crime. Look at that. I rhymed. Didn't even know. I'm rhyming because I got Bobby Two Trill here, as
Yep.
always.
Yep. It's you got to rhyme when you're around me.
You got to be
Yeah.
Two Trill,
You
man.
got to Trill.
And man, I'm somewhat fucking prepared today, man.
Yeah, there's a lot to this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm somewhat prepared. Also, outside of the case, we're going to talk about the Idaho murders, the Idaho Four, as it's also referred to. Um, and this is a very recent case. This happened just this past November, November 13th. But I'm also prepared in the fact that I have my laptop now over here. I can see when there will be no more Facebook users. I will be able to see everyone now, so you can't hide from Otis B. Dreds today. Before we get started, though, it's surprising that I am as I had kind of I got some shameless self promotion to take care of.
All right.
Right quick, Bobby.
Cool.
But yesterday was an odd day. It started out, okay, and then it just developed into kind of shitty. I spent the afternoon in the ER, fucking chest pains and shit. And, when you're hitting the 50s and whatnot, you're almost there, Bobby.
About there.
You're
Couple
about
years.
there. And I will be 51 here soon. So when you're around there and you get them chest pains, man, it could be numerous things.
Yeah.
It could be a heart issues, blood pressure. It could be stress, as we were chatting last night, which is probably the fucking culprit.
It very well could be. You don't recognize stress when it's happening to you a lot of times.
You really don't. It has some unnoticed effects on your body, and not just your mind. You don't, it's not just, I'm stressed out. It ain't like that all the time. Sometimes you're not even thinking about it. It doesn't seem to affect you. So I didn't know what the hell was going on. So I had to leave work early. I got to go see a cardiologist. So that's taken care of. Everything looked good. But so I was like, man, that's kind of shitty. Lost out on a little bit of money, but
I surely hope it isn't.
Oh, it's the first Monday of the month. I kept hearing this dinging in my ear. I thought I was maybe having a stroke.
Yeah,
have to go back to the hospital. But I get back and I have the script for a new indie horror project coming out, and that would be Body Count. It's an anthology. Thank you, Claire. Welcome to the show. Thank you. I'm not feeling too bad today, but yes, thank you. We have Mr. Rob Gates, Pogo the Clown, aka Pogo the Clown. Chaos has just joined us. Chaos is going to be on the Chaos on Ray. He's going to be on the morning show tomorrow. We're going to talk a lot of cool shit tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
But I got this script sent. I busted it out in like 2 takes, man. She loved it.
Awesome.
So, that's one more IMDb credit to my list. So that I was really excited about that. And then a new podcast. It's like I'm a glutton for punishment. I'm a gluten. I'm a gluten for punishment.
You need to be gluten free, man.
I know, right? I won't be so much of a gluten for punishment. Right. Because I have made a post or two in the past about doing a indie horror junkie podcast, because there is a online publication, the Indie Horror Junkie magazine. It's a monthly magazine that comes out as all the latest, news when it comes to indie horror. And because Hollywood horror it sucks.
Yeah,
it's not good.
It's lame. It's real weak.
It is lame, and a lot of really cool ideas are coming from the underground, the indie horror scene. While everybody is fighting, and striking, I don't even know what's going on with that right now. I'm assuming it's still going on. Indie filmmakers are making movies. So it hasn't stopped them. But at any rate, I'm going to be doing the podcast with one Rick Danford. Now, Rick Danford is the founder of the Indie Horror Junkie magazine, the Florida Horror Con. He's involved in that.
Nice.
He's a filmmaker, a writer, actor. He's done a little bit of everything. So that very first episode is next Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern. And I thought I was prepared, but
Oh yeah, brother, that's cool, man. It's all good news except for the heart thing, the chest
yeah,
thing. I hope
right.
it's not your heart,
No,
man. So,
my blood pressure went up a
so
little
that's
bit at the hospital, but nothing to be alarmed about. I
all right.
usually have pinpoint, blood
Yeah,
pressure, which is kind of surprising, being that I've smoked for so
yeah.
many years. Well, quitting here and there, but I've smoked for so many years.
Well,
And my
yeah.
diet isn't. I'm not the poster child for healthy eating.
I got to tell you, I actually about 8 years ago, I went to my doctor because I was having some chest pains. So I got in the next day and stuff, and I wasn't feeling bad enough where I needed to go to the ER, but something was going on. It was hurting
Mhm.
off constantly, but ended up being a pulled pectoral muscle.
Yeah,
You know, but
exactly.
it hurt pretty bad for a while, so I was worried, but I wasn't short of breath or nothing, so I knew it, probably nothing serious.
Yeah, I had a little bit of it was almost like confusion. I felt dazed, like I just got really, really stoned, and then it would go
Yeah,
away. It was almost a sense of vertigo.
almost like sounds like an anxiety attack or
I
something.
wasn't sweating. I didn't
Yeah,
feel anxious. I noticed when I was exerting myself, because I work at a distribution center, so there's a lot of manual labor, a lot of
you
heavy
could you could
lifting.
pull muscles easily doing that stuff. So.
And the quicker I went is the more frequent I would get those. So I didn't know if maybe, me and Mrs. Dreds are thinking maybe a blood pressure thing. They may
It
put
could
me on
be.
maybe some low blood, but my blood pressure is fine. I
Yeah.
can't see them, doing that.
A cardiologist is a good idea, man. It's a good idea to go get a checkup. We ain't getting no younger, my brother.
You got that right, man. So a lot of really, really cool things happening.
That is cool,
Facebook,
brother.
over there,
Yeah.
you can go and follow the Indie Horror Junkie podcast on Facebook. The YouTube page, sub over there, because that is where we'll be going live every Wednesday, among other places, including the Facebook group for the Indie Horror Junkie podcast. So make sure you go and you sub and you follow. That way, when everything is coming out. All right, I've tooted
Well,
my
that's
own
cool, brother.
horn.
Congrats, my brother. That's great.
Thank you. I've tooted my own horn long enough. We got a nice little crowd in here, so let's get it started, man. The known as the Idaho Murders, or the Idaho Four. Um, for college students. As a matter of fact, I meant to have all of their names up. I'm surprised I don't know all of their names right off right off the top of my head. But that's how it goes. We have Madison, or known as Maddie Mogan. She was 21. Kaylee Gonsalves, she was 21. Zaina Kernodle was 20, and Zaina's boyfriend Ethan Chapin was 20. They were all students at the University of Idaho, U of I.
Mhm.
Really just about 20 minutes from WSU, Washington
Yep.
State University. There's a reason I'm bringing that up. Keep that little nugget in your head for a minute. Not very far. A typical college town. This was
Yeah.
off-campus housing.
Mhm.
There was a lot of college students. I did not go to college, although I applaud their ability to party.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
partying, and that would have been something I would have fit right in.
Yeah.
School be damned.
Yeah.
It's wake and bake time.
Yeah. Apps every day, even school days.
And there was a lot of there was a lot of cops being called. noise and things like that. But typical party house,
Yeah.
college students
Living it up.
yeah, living it up. I can't remember. I think it was Maddie who was a senior. And you know, she, you know, it was kind of like a one big hoorah, you know, when it comes to, you know, them all, you know, because they were all, you know, a couple of them were seniors. So they were going to be probably going their separate ways. I think it was Maddie who was going to be going out to Texas or California, out west, you know, to pursue her career. So, you know, this was a big time for them. So they were doing it up until November 13th. November 12th, November, you know, 13th. And it kind of goes like this. I'm going to lay the groundwork and then we're, you know, we'll get a little bit deeper into it because I ain't reading nothing off my screen. I'm going off the top of my head. That's how I roll. Bobby too, Trill. Is that Trill enough?
Oh, Photoshop.
Oh, Photoshop. All right. I got Bobby 2 Trill approval. So, all right. Basically the night goes like this, you know, as I mentioned, a couple of them were 20. So, and that would have been Ethan and Zaina.
Babies.
And they went to a house party there locally.
Yeah.
Or over to a frat house, I believe it was.
Frat party.
Yeah, it was a little frat party over there. Because they couldn't go in the bars. Maddie and Kaylee, on the other hand, went to the what's called the Corner Club. Obviously, a college bar. You can just imagine going out, having a good time. They leave the bar roughly around, you know, 1-ish because they think they made it home about 1:45, 1:30, 1:45, right in that general area. Time frame, but they walk over there. There's little food trucks set out there. I'm sure they make a mint. Can you imagine that in a college town?
Yeah, a bunch of drunk people want something on their stomach.
Oh my God,
I'm staying open till 5 in the morning for sure.
5 in the morning, easy.
Oh yeah,
because hey, you know, stay open until at least 8 because then they get up and they need some breakfast.
That's
they need
true
to serve breakfast food.
Yeah,
bam.
12 midnight till 8 o'clock shift.
I'm working the wrong damn job.
All right.
So, oh man, that went down the wrong hole.
Gotta love that.
Oh yeah. So there are surveillance, you know, of them there. They appear to walk up to the food truck with a guy.
Yeah.
A white hoodie guy at first they called him. You know, they didn't really know his, you know, his name or couldn't release it. But Jake Showalter is went down. That's what she said.
Good look.
I knew it was gonna come in the chat sooner or later. And this guy appears to walk up to them or with them to the food truck. It's speculated maybe they met him at the bar. He was just, you know, gonna walk down there. Maybe he was going that way, being a gentleman.
Yeah.
Making sure nothing really, you know, happened to him or whatever. And then they get their food and they're sitting there chatting. And then all of a sudden they just take off and leave. And you see Jake, he turns around. He's like, what?
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, okay. And then he leaves and goes the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't really mean that he's ruled out, right? I mean, he still could be a person of interest. And he was kind of one of your big suspects in the beginning.
At the beginning, it's all anybody knew. They saw him like at the food truck, you know, and they saw this dude, you know, and he was acting kind of shady, you know, kind of standing back from the girls and stuff. But he walked up with them and stuff.
Right.
So at the very beginning of this, he was the one. A lot of people were focused on him, including me. And I'm like, you know, if he's the last person who was with him as a guy, he was drunk at the club with him or whatever, you know, naturally at the beginning, it's going to be the number one dude that you're looking at probably.
No, absolutely. It's, I mean, if they don't have, you know, they usually go after a significant other, a boyfriend, you know, a spouse, whatever, or the last person known to be with the victims.
Yeah.
I mean, that's detective 101 right there, you know. But he was later ruled out, but it was suspicious
It was.
at first because after he was questioned, his parents picked up and they all moved out of state.
Yeah, they all left the state.
So I'm sure that raised some red
Yeah.
flags to
It
people.
did.
Wait, did we let one go? You know?
A lot of people were talking about that at the time. I remember that pretty well. And I was really interested in the guy. Naturally, he just picks up right after he's questioned. They kind of leave.
Right.
It's a little shady.
Yeah, it's kind of got that O.J. Simpson
Yeah.
feel to it. Why are you
It
running
does.
in the Bronco with
Yeah.
AC if you didn't do anything wrong?
Yeah. You put more suspicion on him from the people. Maybe not the police or whatever, but from ordinary
Right.
Joes like us.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, he was ruled out. Maddie and Kaylee arrived back to the house, which was 1122 King Avenue or King Street, or sometimes Queen Street, because it was on the corner of Queen Street and King Street.
Yeah, really nice place.
nice, double
area.
Yeah, nice little area. Again, a party in town. Well, it wasn't just those four. Let's make sure we touch on this. It wasn't just those four that were living in this house. I need to get the names of the roommates. Let's see.
They're on the tip of my tongue. Names.
Yeah, I know.
The one's got a name that you can't forget, and I forgot it.
Dylan Mortison and Brittany Bunk.
Yeah, both females. So Dylan is a female.
Yeah, Dylan is a female. They were both, because, and keep them in mind too, because we have something to say about them that raises suspicion with us.
Sure.
Oh my goodness. Okay, my sister jumped in. She said there was a young girl murdered in Bel Air. This is in Maryland. Bel Air, I actually grew up in. Over the weekend, she went for a run on the what is that? Ma and Pa Trail. I've never heard of that. And they found her dead yesterday in the woods.
They know how she was killed?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it wasn't Richard Allen. He's in custody.
Yeah, it wasn't the bridge guy from the Delphi murders. Mom Pa Trail. Wow.
That's
Claudia, how do they know, or do they know how she was murdered? Was it strangulation? What happened there? Oh, they're not telling any details right now. Beans, it just happened. That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, being very early in the investigation. And then Kelly joined in. Says, yeah, her boyfriend was the last to see her. And well, here, let me just put it up on the screen so everybody can read it. Boyfriend was the last to see her, and he has a rap sheet 2 pages long of protective orders, domestic violence. They haven't said much more yet.
Be the number one person then.
We know nothing. Trauma to the head, Kelly said. Blunt force trauma to the head, they said in the press conference. Okay, so Kaylee and Maddie arrive back at the house, like I said, roughly around 1:30, 1:45-ish. Got their grub, ready to just wind down after a night of drinking, put something in their belly, which is what I would do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can let Carl in if you don't mind. He's knocking on the door. So the Ethan and Zaina, they come back from the frat party, and that was I think they actually arrived first.
I think
they arrived about 1:30. Excuse me, about 1:30, and Kaylee and Maddie arrived back at the house about quarter till closer to 2.
Right after they got their grub from the food truck.
Yeah, it wasn't long, after Ethan and Zaina got there. So It said that what was it? Roughly around 3:45, or right around 3:30, between 3 and 4. Was it around there? About 3:30, I
Right around
think.
4 o'clock.
Yeah.
I know that Zaina was actually, I don't know if she was on Facebook or Instagram or something like that. Might even been Twitter
Hmm.
at
Oh yeah, about four
right
o'clock.
around four
And then
o'clock.
didn't somebody order some?
She ordered some food.
Because they even questioned the Uber driver
Yeah,
or the DoorDash
they
guy.
did because he got there right around that time, just a little before 4,
Yeah.
quarter till or something.
Let's see if I can pull up
Timeline or
a
something.
timeline here. um. Okay. All right. I talked about all that. Okay. At about 1:40, Maddie and Kaylee
Haley.
were seen on
The
video at
sweeties.
the grub truck. That was at 1:40.
Yeah.
They got a private individual to get a ride home. Used to, I think they had it was almost like a campus Uber
Yeah.
kind of deal is
Yeah.
what I took it as. And they got a ride home, arriving back at 4:45 or 1:45. Um, and then Ethan and Zaina, they get home about 1:45. Um, Chapman, though, Ethan didn't live there at the house. This was just all girls.
Yeah.
He didn't live there. He lives somewhere else, but he was just sleeping over with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Um, so we have, oh yeah, okay. Zaina, she door dashes an order at the house about 4 a.m. according to the affidavit. A short time after, oh, hold on. One of the surviving roommates, I think it was Dylan, said she woke up around 4 a.m. from what sounded like Kaylee's playing with her dog
Yeah. Upstairs.
upstairs. She heard
Yeah.
what she thought was laughing. What was it, laughing?
Um,
Or she heard something.
like the dog stepping all over the floor. I
Mhm.
guess it was not unusual for her to play with the dog.
No,
So,
there's tons of
big dog, by
videos.
the
Yeah,
way.
no, yeah, it was a decent
Yeah,
size,
big dog.
dog. Medium sized dog. So you probably hear this dog running around,
Yeah.
on a second floor. A short time after, the roommate said she heard something she thought was Gonsalves say something to the effect of, "There's someone here."
Yeah.
Okay, and that would be Kaylee
Yeah.
Gonsalves. But that could have been Zaina on her phone, because record shows she was on TikTok at about 4:12.
Yeah.
So she could have heard, not really been able to distinguish
Yeah.
whether or not who this was.
Yeah.
But is someone here? The roommate said she looked out of her bedroom, but did not see anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house. She opened her door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Zaina's room.
Yeah.
So this,
And Zano's was just right across the hall from them.
yes, and Ethan in the bedroom. When Ethan was found, when this was all over with, the next morning afternoon, when Ethan was found, he was halfway in the door. He was like in the hall and halfway in the door, almost like he was surprised and didn't get to react,
Yeah.
and was hit as he was coming out of the door, or maybe he wasn't even in the room.
Right. He could have been
He
outside.
could have been. I don't know.
He could have been in the restroom when it all started going
He could have been in the
down.
restroom. The dude, goes in there. But I think it's pretty safe to say that they were hit first.
Yeah. And there's a reason that makes me think that he might have been in the bathroom out in the hall when all this started and stuff. And that's because of what Dylan thought she heard
Yeah.
outside. she thought she heard somebody say, "I'm going to help you."
Right.
And maybe that was him coming and seeing what was happening and trying to help.
Right, right. Yeah, and that was actually next. The roommate said she then heard a male voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you."
Yeah.
Um, the roommate said she opened her door again when she heard crying and saw a man in black clothes and a mask walk past her. She stood frozen and
Yeah.
in shock. These are
Yeah.
very important, according to court documents.
Yeah.
She then she roommate said she didn't recognize the man, who she said walked towards the house's glass sliding door. She described him as 5'10" or taller and not very muscular, but athletic with bushy eyebrows.
Yeah.
Um, because he was kind of wearing a mask that
Yeah.
just, covered his, excuse me, his nose, and you just
Yeah.
seen pretty much this.
I think they call it what is it, a baklava or something like that. Those kind of
Yeah.
masks that just have the eyes and nose cut out kind of deal.
Mhm.
Ski mask kind of
Yeah.
deal. Yeah.
About 417, a security camera less than 50 feet from Zaina's room picked up sounds of a barking dog and distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper, followed by a loud thud.
Yeah.
Now it's going to get the details of their murder is just absolutely nuts. On the morning of November 13th, the two roommates called friends over to their house because they thought one of the victims on the second floor had passed out and wasn't waking up.
Yeah. That's pretty bizarre, isn't it?
That is. Did she not go into the room? Did she not? I mean, because if she went into the room, there is no, because the 911 call, my roommate's unconscious. We can't get her up. That's why the police ended up there.
Yeah.
Now, if you're going into if you're just knocking on the door, okay, they're not waking up.
Maybe you're not waking up. Yeah.
But I mean, because if you open the door and tried to shake them, because they're not responding to the knock at the door, it's obvious. They said it was literally a bloodbath.
Yeah.
Everywhere, to the point that cops on the outside of the house, on the foundation, on the brick foundation, blood was dripping down.
On the outside.
On the outside of the
crazy.
house. Nobody was outside.
Yeah.
They were all murdered inside, but that's how much blood. And I'm gonna find a picture of this, because that just boggles my mind.
It does. How do you, if she were to walk in that room and then she calls and says, "My roommate's unconscious," after seeing all that,
Yeah.
yeah, that's weird. Yeah, and I would probably immediately assume, look, she's dead. I mean,
Right.
she's not just
I mean,
unconscious, and she didn't describe none of it. Apparently, she didn't describe seeing blood or all that. She's just unconscious, kind of deal. Weird.
I'm gonna share this tab right here real quick. As you see right there on the right hand side, that is from the outside of the house. That is absolutely crazy. I've never seen a murder happen inside a residence and then all of a sudden there's blood leaking out of the house.
In order for that to happen, there has to be pools of
An
blood.
oversaturation to find because I can't imagine there's a whole lot of little crevices that's going to leak outside. You have oversaturated.
Yeah.
I mean, it really boggles my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, that is even a damn thing.
Yeah. Whoever did this slaughtered these kids, and like rampage style.
There has to be a lot of rage going on here.
Yeah.
And so kick the dog. So Cops go there because thinking they have a possible drug overdose. They just have what they're told is somebody unconscious, not waking up, not responding. And they get there to a quadruple murder.
In 2 different parts of the house, upstairs and downstairs, 2nd floor and 3rd floor.
Yes. Yeah, because it says the 2 roommates, they had passed out and wasn't waking up. Police said that's all they knew.
Yeah.
So they just apparently did not go into the fucking room.
Right. They must not have.
They
must have just
there's
knocked.
no fucking way that they could have gone in there and then made a call that they were passed out and not responding.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't have much faith in humanity, but I can't think that people are that dumb.
Yeah, and you would figure she, for a house like that where they're all living together, she'd want them to have their privacy. She probably wouldn't have went in.
She would have
probably just not.
Right.
But then again, what if you've knocked 20 times and you decide just to peek through the door or something? I mean, I don't know. I'd probably just knock. But if I wouldn't get no response from them, I would be worried, obviously.
Sure.
And I'd probably go check on them.
Right. No, absolutely. If you're banging on the door and they're not, waking up, well, I mean, there's a lot of alcohol being consumed at these parties.
Yeah.
Does somebody have a reaction? You're not bulletproof when you're 20.
Yeah.
We all thought we were.
Not to mention the night before, I saw a man in my house with a ski mask coming through, and I was so scared that I froze up and then went inside and locked my door and did not call the police for 8 hours.
That does not make sense. And that's why we want to bring up these other roommates, because you have a lot of suspicion when it comes to these other 2 roommates. And you just mentioned one damn good reason to be, because it really doesn't make sense that you don't call. Seeing a strange man, which is why I was frozen in shock. I was terrified. I locked the door.
Yep.
And you did not call 911 when you seen somebody that doesn't belong there run through your house?
Didn't think to text your roommates in the next room to say, hey, who was that?
Yeah.
What's going on? Somebody weird's in the house. It seems odd.
It really does. Good afternoon, Mr. Nanners.
So, yeah, I definitely have questions. And they're under a gag order right now, so they can't really release anything. I am really interested in hearing it. What is the excuse for not calling for 8 hours or checking up on them, or even going into the room if she didn't go into the room after a night where she was petrified, so she says.
Yes.
I mean, I would put, do you think a college student's going to put 2 and 2 together in there?
Absolutely.
I know that people come and go from the house a lot, being a frat house, but if it's somebody that you see wearing like a ski mask and you're afraid of him after you just heard some weird stuff, at least send a text or something to the person in the next room. Say, is everything
immediately cool? After you see this person.
Yeah.
Run through your house. Hey, who was that? I thought I heard somebody say someone was here. Who was that? Kelly said, all I'm going to say is I ain't trying to have friends like that. What the fuck, man?
Yeah, that's messed up.
Exactly. I mean, there's so many things that most of us would think would be a logical reaction to seeing somebody run through their house.
Yeah.
With all black, with a fucking ski mask on or some sort of mask on.
Not to mention that she was standing in the doorway. He walked from Zaina's room right past her. While she was standing there, they were face to face enough that she could see his bushy eyebrows. And he looked at her.
Why didn't he kill her?
Why? Yeah. Why? What's up with that? Did he not have any energy left? Was he satisfied? I mean, she saw him. So wouldn't you think that being that easy and right there, quick couple slashes and there goes your witness.
Yeah.
He didn't do that. He walked right past her and walked out the house. Then she walked into the room and locked it because she was frightened. It seems weird to me.
It really does.
I'm not an investigator. I'm not a cop, but that seems just as a human being. That
Sure.
isn't the way I know anybody would operate like that.
Right.
Not one person I've ever met would operate like that. I don't think.
No, I don't think I think that's probably a the general consensus here that that's just not a doesn't seem like a normal reaction.
No, it doesn't. Not to me.
I mean, if I hear somebody prowling around on the outside of my house,
Yeah.
I'm going to be on high alert, you know.
But that brings up also, could these 4 people have been targeted? He wasn't interested in her because he was targeting these individuals. That could be too.
That's a good possibility.
Yeah.
And which brings, me to another point that we discussed a little bit before we went on, and that's what's the connection
Right.
between their suspect, Brian Koberger. Is it Koberger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
And any of the victims, because if he's has connections to just one victim, that's enough to implicate him.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't a whole lot of DNA discovered, not in his car, not anywhere. Not on his clothes. The amount of blood that would have been at the scene, it seems hard to believe that there is literally no blood, no DNA in his car anywhere after he left the scene.
How they came to find this guy, by the way, is and I got to say that people put a lot of pressure on the cops right away.
They did.
That was bothering me. Like within a week, you ain't got this solved. You guys suck, and this. I mean, the things like this take time.
Yeah, this is a quadruple homicide that is not dealt with in the little area of Moscow, Idaho.
Yeah,
they don't deal with quadruple homicides on a college campus every day.
No, so that within 30 days for these guys to pretty much have a suspect is pretty good.
It's actually, and then to be in court just months later with somebody.
But how they came to find him was that there was apparently camera footage of a car. What was the car again? It was
a white Elantra.
Elantra. And so they, and then so they put that out there about the white Elantra and stuff. Oh, there was I guess it was security or somebody at his college who knew that he had a car and kind of put a tip in that this guy's got this car and stuff. And they started to check, as a suspect, his phone, and his phone pinged in that area at the time of the murders.
At WSU, which I mentioned earlier, which is why it's important because it's only about 20 minutes from this campus. So they got him pinged leaving WSU at like 2:45 in the morning.
Yeah, all the way. They got him all the way to murder site, close to it, within that vicinity. And did his phone shut off?
His phone, they said when he left, his phone shut off. They lost contact with his phone at like 2:45 when he left WSU. And I'm pretty sure, or maybe it went off right before he got to. But it shut off between him leaving WSU and entering and over there to the University of Idaho.
Another thing that we got to bring up is what this guy takes in college. He's a law student. He's a
studying criminology
and a law student. Yeah, somebody like this would have surely known, don't take your phone with you if you're going to kill somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew that. This guy is studying under a professor who studied BTK and talks to him and he writes books.
Interesting point. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And he would have known for sure, if I'm going to commit a murder, I can't have this phone traced. They're going to trace this phone. He's the one guy who would know that for sure. But yet he allowed it to stay on for whatever reason. Like he didn't care. He knew if he would have became a suspect that's going to trace him there. He's a law student. He knows what he's doing.
You would think that he would know.
Yeah, and I don't know why he would keep it on, but they got that all the way to the murder site, and they got a knife sheath that was left at the scene with DNA from his father. Is that right?
Yes.
His father's DNA on the button snap.
Mm-hmm.
Snap the sheath together. Those are the things that they got against him right now.
Yeah.
That's so that's what we have to deal with right there. That's
He
what he has to deal with.
he also, though, he just the latest news in this is his alibi.
Yeah.
And I need to remove that one. Hold on there. And I want to play this little video. It's only about 2.5 minutes talking about his alibi. Because it's so vague and ridiculous. We have made jokes, Bobby, at times about how not I mean, yeah, it's not really cool to make jokes, I guess, occasionally, but we have made jokes in the past off air and maybe once on about, oh, well, he said he didn't do it.
Yeah.
And as ridiculous as we joke about how that is, because sometimes it seems like that.
Yeah,
Oh,
he said
he didn't do
so
it.
he didn't do it. Case solved.
Case solved. Done. Right?
Yeah.
And his alibi is that ridiculous.
Yeah.
Is really that ridiculous. I'll just say this before we play the video here. His alibi is, hey, man, there's times where at night I just like to get out and just drive around alone. That's your fucking alibi?
That's it. That's the alibi.
He has done more damage to himself with that retarded alibi than anything.
Yeah. And I'm interested in knowing, what he thinks about DNA on the knife sheath.
Yeah.
And that apparently they got him going to this residence and around this residence multiple times in the past, almost like he was stalking this place early in the morning too, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, he does like to drive around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, but he seems to keep going to the same place.
Yeah.
Which
is suspicious. Sure.
Yeah. So he ain't lying.
He's definitely not lying. Okay, let's take a listen to this video here. This is this fucking crazy alibi.
Idaho College murders and the newly revealed alibi from the suspect. Mola Lange has the details. Good morning, Mola.
Well, good morning, Eva. Brian Kohberger's attorneys say his alibi will prove not exactly where he was the night of the murders, but where he was not, the crime scene. Brian Kohberger, the man accused of killing 4 Idaho College students, offering an alibi, claiming he was in his car when the murders happened. Kohberger's attorney saying in a new court filing, Mr. Kohberger has long had a habit of going for drives alone. Often he would go for drives at night. However, he is not claiming to be at a specific location at a specific time, and that there is not a specific witness to say precisely where he was.
When a defendant puts forth an alibi, it is something or someone that can identify them in some place other than the scene of the crime. In this particular case, his alibi, he was driving alone, does not give a precise thing or person that can place him somewhere else. So that's the question the judge must determine, is whether or not that it can actually be used as an alibi.
Last week, the court required Kohberger to state where he was on the night Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogen, Zainer Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin were murdered. The defense says they will use witness testimony during trial to show his whereabouts.
The defense is attempting to say that they can prove that this alibi of him driving alone can be substantiated by cross-examining witnesses that will be put on a trial. This is contradictory to the fact that typically an alibi is a particular place, an item, or someone that can identify you at a current place or time.
In June, the defense asked prosecutors to turn over cell phone data, which allegedly showed Kohberger at the crime scene. They also want to know about evidence placing Kohberger's white Hyundai Elantra near the crime scene, along with relevant genetic testing. They say 3 other male DNA profiles were found at the scene. But the state says Kohberger's DNA, taken from a cheek swab, is a statistical match to DNA found on the knife sheath discovered underneath Madison Mogen. Koberger charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary, remaining silent in court, a judge pleading not guilty on his behalf.
Well, Koberger's next hearing is scheduled for August 18th. The trial is scheduled to begin October 2nd. The prosecutors say they plan to seek the death penalty, Eva.
All right, Mola Langy for us there. Thank you, Mola.
All right. So, hold on, let me shut up, George Stephanopoulos.
Yeah, I almost hear you.
Snuffleupagus. George Snuffleupagus. So, I'm sure you guys are convinced now that he was not a part of this.
No.
He was driving around.
He
He
didn't
was
do it.
alone. I can't tell you where I was at a specific time
Yeah.
in a specific place.
Yeah, and we were just talking about how they got the DNA from him.
Mhm.
His dad came all the way up there in a car, picked him up to drive him all the way back to Pennsylvania. Okay, that's a long drive. He got stopped a couple times along the way, and it says because they were pretty much checking up on him and looking at him. They kind of knew who he was.
Mhm.
And so when he gets to Pennsylvania, is it his dad's house there in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, I think so.
And they got him taking his trash and stuff out and putting it in the neighbors' bins.
Yeah.
Okay. Because he knew that they were on to him, I think. And he knew as a law student, they're going to try to get my DNA. So
Mhm.
he was trying to put everything that was his into his neighbor's trash bin. And he was going out there early in the morning and doing it. So that's how they got the DNA off of something that he had either drank out of or ate off of. And that's how they got the DNA match too. So he was acting suspicious anyway.
Sure.
Yeah, but I'm sure he didn't do it too. I'm with you on that. I mean, he
No.
said he didn't do it. Good enough for me. Case closed.
Good enough for me. Book him, you know. Kelly makes a good point. With that type of crime, how are you not going to hear more noise or screaming? Stabbings are not quick deaths.
They're not. That's right. That's a good point.
Or
That's a good point.
quiet, she says. You know.
And the 2 girls upstairs were both in the same room as well. And the dog was in the other room with the door shut.
Dog
Okay.
was unharmed.
Yeah, totally unharmed. So was the neighbors downstairs who saw him and they walked right past him.
Yeah.
Proof he didn't do it.
Proof he
They
didn't
saw
do
him not do it.
I know. He was just walking down the hallway.
Yep.
He didn't do anything.
Perfectly innocent.
Kelly also states he was also a forensic student.
Yeah.
He knows a lot about crime scene investigation. Yes.
This guy would know not to bring cell phone with him.
And here's yeah.
There's no doubt.
Here's the thing. I mean, why wouldn't he leave his cell phone on and leave it at the WSU campus? That's the way it's always going to ping there.
Yeah, exactly. He would know that.
He should have known that.
This is not a dummy.
He took it with him and then
Yeah.
just happened to turn it back on when he left
Yeah.
Idaho or the Idaho campus.
Yeah.
I think they also got him with some Amazon purchases on his phone. I'm pretty sure. Did he buy that knife off of Amazon?
You know, I don't know.
Now you guys don't quote me on this, but if I'm not mistaken, because I was watching or listening to a podcast last night with this, I guess she worked in law or whatever. I don't know, Candace something, and I'm pretty sure she stated that they literally have record of him buying a knife from Amazon.
If that's so, how did his dad's DNA get on there? And why isn't his dad being investigated?
Exactly.
Why isn't his dad in jail?
There
That's the
is
DNA.
so many friggin' questions,
There are a lot.
with this particular case. And what I don't know if exciting is the right word, but what makes it exciting to at least follow this case and see that this douchebag, if he in fact is the one, which it's looking that way, but there's also an equal amount of loopholes. And whatnot for the defense.
I think they're going to go strong on the DNA.
I think they are too.
Yeah, I think.
And I think the
their case.
prosecution is also going to go strong, or the prosecution is going to go strong on that thumbprint.
Yeah.
The defense is going to go strong on the DNA to the fact of, okay, it should raise more eyebrows than the thumbprint, with the fact that we can't connect anything.
Yeah.
No DNA in the car.
Yeah, that's weird. That if there's no
That
DNA in the
is
car,
so
that's
weird.
bizarre.
I can't stress it enough. You're not going to clean this blood completely with the technology that they have now. There is, I mean, they just spray some luminol on there, throw a black light on it. It's whether you wipe it clean or not,
Yeah.
they're still going to find trace amounts. And they did not find one shred of DNA
Yeah.
in his car that he supposedly, after attacking so viciously in his bloodbath, gets in his car.
Yeah.
And what he's seen at like 3 o'clock in the morning, like you said, taking trash and putting it in his mom's neighbor's trash can, which
Yeah.
is fucking odd,
Yeah, it's
which
weird.
doesn't look good on him.
No, not at all.
And also using latex gloves and cleaning the inside of his car very, very detailed.
He
like.
must have done a hell of a job cleaning that car up. He's a law student, so he
Right.
would know nooks and crannies, get it all. But if he's that smart, why did he take his damn phone with him? You're going to go through all that,
Oh, yeah.
but that's the
But-
one
but-
thing that's going to kill you. I mean, that's the one thing that's going to get you, really,
Every
and the
time,
DNA.
every time.
But he did such a good. The only place they found his DNA in that whole house is on that little snap.
Mhm. And it wasn't
On-
his. It
was
was
his-
his. It was
his
his
dad's.
dad's, which linked him.
Yeah.
To the crime, not the crime scene.
Yeah,
We don't know that.
I would like to know for sure when his dad got there to pick him up. I don't know. No idea. But it's weird. He thought that much to not leave DNA because he's a law student. He
Yeah.
took his phone with him. That's weird to me.
That is so just what you would consider to be out of character for somebody of his intelligence
Yeah.
and his studies and what he knows about criminology and forensics, that he would do something just so blatantly retarded.
Then we have to also mention that he did come back to the crime scene the next morning.
I forgot about that.
They traced his phone coming back, going from his college to there
WSU, yeah.
at 9 o'clock in the morning, and kind of driving around the area and then leaving. Maybe he knew he left his knife sheath there, and he was there to think maybe I can get back in there. Maybe the police haven't arrived yet. Maybe he was there to see if the police had arrived yet. They say a lot of killers, go back to
They
the
go
crime
back,
scene, and
yeah,
apparently
it's
he did.
almost like it's almost like, yeah, he was going back and admiring, or yeah, they do that.
Yeah.
They're known to do that.
Or maybe that he thought, man, that was my flaw. I left the knife sheath there. Where is it? Maybe he was at home searching all over the place,
Like,
going,
oh,
where did it
fuck.
go?
Right.
Oh man, I left it there. Maybe he was going back to try to get it, and then something stopped him. Maybe there were people around, and he thought, man, it's too risky to go in there.
You don't want to be seen in broad
Yeah.
daylight, for one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he did go back, apparently.
Kelly said, bro slept through part of forensics class.
No doubt. That's the truth of it.
Man, you ain't never lied, Kelly. So yeah, I mean, as much as we could sit here and say he's the one that did it, and
Yeah.
you may be right.
Yeah.
There's just it's going to go back and forth. This isn't cut and dry.
Yeah.
As a lot of these cases can be, because they can name, okay, bam, we got your forensics, we got eyewitness, blah blah blah. Now maybe they have more, as we mentioned, there's gag orders, and nothing's going to be released yet. I think we had the same issue with Delphi case, releasing documents to the public, things that we didn't know before. Maybe something similar will happen with this case. And once these, because I think you told me before the show that it was Gonsalvez's father who says he knows and has proof of a connection between Brian Kohberger and did he say his daughter?
His daughter.
And his daughter,
Yeah.
Kaylee.
And we have no idea because they're under a gag order and they're not allowed to
So
release nothing. We don't know if it's the text or
right.
if they were on each other's Facebooks or something like. We don't know yet what it is, what the evidence he has in that is. But I'm interested in finding out.
I feel like I've heard that. I mean, I watch so many true crimes shows that I sometimes get the cases mixed up.
He ain't the only one.
But correct me if I'm wrong. I think I did hear that he was on one of their profiles. No, this might be another case, but he was following her, but she wasn't following him or something.
Yeah,
I don't know if that was this case. Just erase, delete what I just said.
I am curious. I am curious to find out if any of them were following Anthony Shots, though, or Jack the Ripper. It was Jack the Ripper did it. Yeah, I get cases confused all the time, man.
I do, man. I really do. Speaking of Jack the Ripper, I seen because we're getting ready to end the show. Jack the Tripper. Come and knock on our door. Stab, 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 stab.
Jack T. Ripper.
Jack T. Ripper, buddy. That's who it is, man. Hello, Kimberly. You joined us late, but that's okay because you can instantly rewatch it or watch it for the first time right when we're done. Yeah, I was gonna say something. I can't remember.
Let's just redo the whole show and we can start again.
Much love to you too, Kimberly. Nice to see you. Yeah, there's a lot of
it's interesting, man. It really is. I'm very curious to see what comes on next. This Koberger guy, he seems like he's very confident when you see him.
Yeah.
Maybe he just did the perfect crime and it's going to come out and somebody else is going to be framed or maybe he's just a mastermind law student. But you know what? It looks like he's a dummy.
It looks like he's a big dumbass.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he is, I guess.
And I'm glad if it is him because he needs to pay for it because as much as we, we're silly and stuff like that, when you sit down and think about, 4 lives lost and the families, and it's really sad. They had so much going for them.
They had a lot of potential. I mean, these are the kids that wouldn't give me a second look in school.
Oh no.
These were, upper class.
Yeah.
Oh, I know who this is, Kimberly. Yes, little bit. That's your little clown name or whatever. Little bit.
I like it.
I like it.
It's a lot better than Bobby Two Trill.
But no, Bobby Two Trill is Two Trill. So this is going on. Do we have a date? Because for the trial, because there have been some delays and there's expected to still be delays in the start of it unless the judge gets fed up with it. But there seems to be, the thinking that, there's going to be more delays in this. And hey, I guess, on either side, you should probably, take advantage of all the delays you can to make sure you got, your everything, put together.
Yeah, because while he's reprimanded right now, the investigation still goes on, just like the Delphi. Just because the person's in jail doesn't mean the investigation stops. So So when new things come to light, the trial gets pushed back. And the investigation brings new stuff. It'll get pushed back. So who knows? Like the Delphi case is supposed to come up in January. That'll probably be pushed back even further than that because they're still investigating. Yeah. New stuff will come to life. It happens all the time. That's why trials take so long with some people.
Yeah. This case, he pleaded. Did he plead not guilty?
Yes.
Yeah, he did plead not guilty. I just seen a little clip. Yeah.
So, and I believe him.
I mean, you say you didn't do it.
Yeah, I mean that's
I mean, you almost got to believe it.
case closed.
Case closed. And case closed on this show. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And don't forget, go over there to the Indie Horror Junkie podcast Facebook page, Facebook group or page, and also the YouTube channel. Go over coming. Oh, well, actually, it's already kicked off. No, September 1st. We have the Hellvirus Haunted Asylum of Horror coming to Kickstarter September 1st. But right now, you can go and you can be in Pervert Magazine. Would you like to be in Pervert Magazine, Bobby?
Yeah, nobody wants to see this. No,
I know. Right?
no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't even look at it if the pictures were taken. I trust you guys. I don't want to see it. No, I'm good.
You're good.
I'll spare y'all.
That's a Kickstarter that is going on right now. It is Pervert Magazine is actually a prop that's going to be used in the Hellvirus Haunted Asylum of Horror, which yours truly will be playing Dave the Stoner, man.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's great. Yeah, and yeah, you can get the actual prop in hand. There's all kinds of little perks and everything, so you can go over there and check out that Kickstarter program because it all goes to help kick off Hellvirus Haunted Asylum of Horror. And with that, I'm going to say bye. Thank you, Bobby Two Trill.
Hey, thank you all.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
being
brother.
Two Trill, man.
Thanks for having me, my brother.
Hey.
Much love to y'all.
Absolutely, and we'll keep our eyes out and ears open on what's going on with this particular case. It is ongoing. It is so recent, as in 10 months, within a year. I mean, last November. So with that, have a good Monday. Mondays don't suck when you're watching us.
Right.
Well, me.
Yeah. Indeed.
Out.